UN's top court has given a ruling on South Africa's genocide case against Israel. The court says Israel must take measures to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza, but it didn't order an immediate ceasefire. That's what South Africa wanted. They brought this case. Israel wanted the case thrown out entirely, and the judges rejected that. Let's break it all down. This is all happening at the ICJ in The Hague. It's the main court in the UN system and gets involved whenever there is a dispute between UN member states, like when countries are accused of breaking international treaties. And the treaty we're talking about here is the 1948 Genocide Convention. Also, don't confuse the ICJ with the ICC. That's a different court that deals with individuals. So South Africa alleges that Israel's actions in Gaza amount to genocide, according to the definition in that convention. Now, this most recent ruling, and this is super important, is not a final decision on that case. This was about responding to South Africa's request for emergency measures to stop the suffering in Gaza, while the court considers the main genocide case, something that'll take years. So the judges have ordered Israel to do 6 things. Tap and hold this video if you want to read them all. The main takeaway is that Israel needs to prevent the killing of Palestinians in Gaza and allow more aid in. This ruling is legally binding, but the court itself has no way of actually forcing Israel to comply. So we're left with a couple of big questions. First, will the ruling do anything to change Israel's approach and make a difference to the people in Gaza? Well, Israel's prime minister has called the charge of genocide outrageous and says the war will continue until Hamas is defeated and all the hostages are released. And that leads to a second question. How might other countries pressure Israel to comply, whether that's through the UN Security Council or in conversations with the Israeli government? People are especially watching what the US, Israel's main ally, might do. The US has already vetoed UN resolutions calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. So if it comes to another vote, would the US also veto a resolution that tries to enforce the ICJ's orders, like on the issue of aid, for example?
It says Israel needs to let more aid into Gaza, the exact same thing that the Biden administration has been asking for. So if this comes to a Security Council decision, because as we know, the ICJ doesn't have any enforcement powers, if someone brings it up to the UN Security Council, is the US going to be able to veto exactly what they've been calling for Israel to do?